What's up YouTube, it's TF Collector, and today I'll be reviewing the Transformers Studios series More Than Meets the Eye collection, Gamer Edition Deluxe Class Wheeljack from Transformers Devastation. And before we take a look at the figure itself, we will first take a look at the packaging that he does come in. You can see on the front a nice picture of Wheeljack in robot and alt mode. 18 steps there for transformation. Transformers Studios series, Devastation More Than Meets the Eye, Wheeljack Hasbro on this side. Another picture of Wheeljack, there's his name, there is Studio Series, and Devastation once again. On this side, you have the rest of that image going on. Autobot logo, Studio Series Deluxe Class on the back of the packaging. A nice little screen grab from the game, a hair, that doesn't come included. Over here, Devastation Wheeljack. Wheeljack bravely fights to defeat the Insecticon guards of the Plasma Core. Never played Devastation, so I don't know what that's talking about, but sounds cool. Anyways, 18 steps for transformation. Once again, authentic barcode. Hasbro on the bottom, nothing on the top. Transformers Devastation, More Than Meets the Eye. Wheeljack, Takara Tomy. And one last thing before we take a look at the figure itself, he does of course include his instruction manual. There's Wheeljack, Studio Series, Devastation, More Than Meets the Eye, Wheeljack on the back, steps and greatness, and you have Takara and Hasbro there. And moving to the figure itself, here is Studio Series Devastation Wheeljack. And before we hop into the review, I am very sorry for the lack of uploads here recently. College has been kicking my butt, but I'm going to try to get back on track with these reviews, starting with Wheeljack. I do have a slew of new figures to take a look at. This will be the first of many. But coming in close on the details, you can see very G1 inspired. Of course, that's basically what the Devastation designs were, but some nice blue paint on the windshields and windows. Nice Autobot logo there with some red and green going on. Up here in the front, nice little bit of gray going on there. Overall, very nice looking car mode. They matched the paint here very well to the plastic with the white. Nice silver rims. Very nicely done overall. Here's the back, a little bit of detail, a little spoiler there. There's the top, there is the bottom. Overall, a very nice little alt mode in my opinion. And when it comes to accessories, Wheeljack does come with two, the first of which is this big old blaster here, just done in a light gray plastic. Wish it could have been painted a little bit, but you can see just some nice molded detailing, so that he comes with that. And he also comes with his little shoulder rocket, shoulder missile launcher, whatever you want to call it. Nicely painted in silver. You can see just cast in white plastic, painted over in the silver. Now these do both store here in alt mode. This one you can just port right there into the back. So just plug that right in and there you go. And this one, just plug it right into the top and there you go. Very, very elegant storage, but it doesn't look terrible. And just for one quick alt mode comparison, just to give you a sense of scale, here he is with the Studio Series Gamer Edition Devastation Optimus Prime. So you can see how these two look together. And as you can see, 100% in scale. 100%. Just kidding. Of course, these aren't in scale, but they are both very nice figures in their own right, and I do like both of them. But that is about it for the alt mode. Not a whole lot to be said, but overall a nice looking G1-y Devastation Wheeljack alt mode. But we're going to go ahead and transform him, so let's get down to it. The first thing we're going to want to do is grab his hands right here and just pop them out. That will swing that whole arm up, so do the same thing on this side. Just get your nail in there. You kind of got to get his fist out. It does tab in and swing that up. But you don't want it to go up there. I mean, it's fine if it does because you're just going to pull it out like that next. So pull it out like that. Next, if you want, you can go ahead and flip his head up just so it's not in the way later. So we can go ahead and do that. Now what we can do is we're going to take this whole section and rotate 180 at the waist like so. Then we can untab this little panel here. If we can get our nails under there. And just untab that and you can see there is a little tab right there underneath his chin, and that will just tab right into the chest plate. So there you have that. Now for the legs, we want to split them down the middle and they are going to swing downwards, so pull out on them. And before you swing them down, you want to push this piece under so it will go into the leg and bring the leg the rest of the way down like so, and then just bring the foot up. It is on a double hinge, so just play around with it. You kind of want this piece to go back into that slot. Just play around with it, get it back in there like so, and there's how you want your legs looking. So just do the same thing on the other side here. Undo it, push the window down, bring the leg the rest of the way down, fiddle around with that foot to get it in place, and there you have his legs all done. This is a very simple transformation. We're almost done already, but now you just want to straighten his arms out all the way and rotate so the bicep is facing forward, rotate so the hand is facing forward, and do the same thing here. Rotate down, rotate, rotate, and there you have his arms all done, and just bring that down so that is oriented like a normal arm. But to finish things off, just come back here and you're going to want to swing these bits around just to give him that little G1 look where he has those little fins in the back. But if we really want to complete the G1 look slash Devastation look, we do of course have to bring in his missile launcher, and it does plug right there into his shoulder. You're going to use the tab instead of this little post this time, so just tab it right onto his shoulder, and there you go. There is Wheeljack in a very nice looking robot mode. And after a very simple yet effective transformation, I am very happy with the way this figure turned out. When I ordered this guy, I ordered him and the side swipe they did together. I wasn't expecting much out of them, but I have actually really enjoyed this figure. I love getting him out and messing around with him, transforming him back and forth, because it is such a simple transformation. It is very fun. But coming in close on the details, you can see the head sculpt. Of course, super G1 look going on here. You have his fins, his blue eyes with the mouth plate, of course, have the missile launcher there. Basically, all the details you've already seen in car mode. You have your Autobot logo, all that good stuff. Down the leg, you've already seen it in car mode, but you can see some more molded details are revealed here in robot mode. Overall, pretty good looking. When it comes to the backpack, there isn't one. Nothing to complain about, really. Just overall, a very solid robot mode. And when it comes to articulation, Wheeljack is actually surprisingly posable. First off, his head is on a ball joint, so he can slightly look up and he can look down. Now you can kind of untab his head from his chest and totally have him looking into his chest, if that's a thing you want to do. But he can slightly look down on the ball joint, and the head can rotate a full 360. It can be a little difficult to get it all the way around, but it does do it. The arms can do a full 360. They can move in and out. You also have another hinge here, so he can shoulder himself in the face. You have a bicep swivel. You have elbow bend, about 90 degrees. You do have a wrist swivel, which is very nice to see on a deluxe figure. You have a waist swivel. You have legs that kick forward that far, backward that far. They do go out to almost a full split. Maybe if I bring it down, it might be able to get a full split. Nope, almost though. Almost a full split. You do get a little bit of thigh rotation. The knees do bend to about 90 degrees, slightly less. And the ankles, due to transformation, you can totally mess around with them, and you do get a nice little ankle tilt. So overall, for a little deluxe class figure, nothing to complain about when it comes to articulation. And when it comes to accessories, if we want to bring in Wheeljack's other accessory, we can totally store it back here on the back by plugging it in right there if we want. You can also fit it on the leg right there if you for some reason want to store it on his leg. But you also have other ports here, wherever else you can find. But me personally, I prefer the simple plug it in his hand so he can shoot his gun. Now this one you can take off and he can hold that port as well, but I personally like the accurate look of it on his shoulder. So now you can have Wheeljack nice and armed up. And now rolling through some quick robot mode comparisons. First, here is Wheeljack with Studio Series Gamer Edition Devastation Optimus Prime, so you can see how those two look together. Here he is with the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Wheeljack, so you can see how he looks with a live action counterpart that is pretty much perfectly based off of this design. Not sure why they changed this. And speaking of changing it, here he is with the Studio Series Rise of the Beast Wheeljack. That's Pablo, not Wheeljack, but technically it's Wheeljack. But there you have them together. And last but not least, here he is with Studio Series Dark of the Moon Q, who is supposedly Wheeljack. So you can see how he looks with another live-action counterpart. And while they are very different designs, I think they're both pretty cool. Me personally wish Michael Bay would have went with something closer to this, but Albert Einstein Q is certainly something to behold. But for the final comparison, of course, here he is with a CG model of how he appeared in the Transformers Devastation video game, so you can see how close they got this figure to what they were going off of, and overall, it's a very fun figure and a very accurate figure that I would certainly recommend. So this has been my review for the Transformers Studio Series More Than Meets the Eye Collection Gamer Edition Deluxe Class Wheeljack from Transformers Devastation. That is a mouthful, but overall a very fun figure that I certainly enjoy getting off the shelf and messing around with. The transformation, while very simple, is super enjoyable and fun to go back and forth through. Both modes look very good. The alt mode looks really good in my opinion, as does the robot mode. Articulation is much better than I was expecting, coming with great wrist rotation, waist rotation, and the kind of typical now, but I still love to see it, ankle pivots here on Deluxe figures. Overall, just the full package is what you're getting with this figure. A few little nitpicks that I personally have. The legs do have a little more hollow than I would like to see, and I do wish the gun had been painted. But other than that, I do really enjoy this figure. Do kind of think he should have been packed as an 86 Wheeljack, just so we could say we had an 86 Wheeljack. I don't see the need for a Devastation one, but for Devastation video game fans, maybe this is a big deal. But for me personally, wish this would have just been an 86 Wheeljack, but I'm sure they'll give him another shot and call it 86 down the line, or perhaps they'll just slightly repaint this and say, hey, new figure, 86. Yep, that sounds more like Hasbro. But that's about all I have to say for this figure. If I had to rate this Devastation Wheeljack on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to give him a very solid 8.5 out of 10. Certainly would recommend this figure. Maybe wait till he comes down in price a little on like a sale or something. Not sure if he's worth the full $25 or $27 now for Deluxes. It's 27 or 28. The prices are getting ridiculous. I'm going to go broke. But that's my review for Wheeljack. Definitely recommend him. Get him if you can. And don't forget, never sacrifice the things you love for the approval of others. I'll see you all soon with more videos of new figures. And until then, roll out. Peace.